Afternoon, everyone. It is so good to see everybody here on such a beautiful day, beautiful afternoon. And thank you for everyone who's joining us by live stream. This is our 10th of 12 listening sessions regarding the elections process here in Virginia Beach. I'd like to acknowledge we have Councilman Berlucci here with us today, and thank you so much for being with us. My name is Charnel Hearing. With me is James Dittmar. We are with the Weldon Cooper Center, and we are here today to assist the city in facilitating the discussions regarding the elections process. Just a couple of housekeeping items. Restrooms, there is one in this room behind you, but down the hallway on each side there are restrooms. In case of emergency, there is an exit behind me, and of course out front. We ask that you keep your cell phones either off or on vibrate. If you need to take a call, of course, please do so, but outside the room, please, so that we can hear each other. So that's it. I'm going to turn it over to Jane.
Thanks, Charnel. As she mentioned, we are your facilitators tonight, or this afternoon, and our role is to make sure that your input is heard and captured, and that we stay on time so that everybody that is here has a chance to speak, and also people joining us live stream who may wish to speak can speak as well. Your role is to give input. We'll give you a time limit of 3 minutes, as has been given to every speaker over the last 10 sessions, over the last 9 sessions. And if you are not speaking, or when you are not speaking, your role is to listen respectfully. So people have been asking us how we're capturing these comments. There is a verbatim, so word for word transcript being made of everyone that speaks. All your words are captured. We are also videoing you, and this is for the forever record. And we, as your facilitators, are taking notes so that we can prepare a key elements report that will be incorporated in the larger report coming to you from the Weldon Cooper Center.
So after the sessions are done, as mentioned, there will be a key findings report. Also, there will be a survey, a random survey that's mailed to individuals. But if you don't get a survey, you can still fill out the survey online. And each meeting has its own email address as well. So if you want to provide comments by email, you can. The website for this is Speak Up VB, City of Virginia Beach, Virginia. It's at publicinput.com. Also, you can leave a voicemail on the project's website at 855-925-2801. If you have issues separate from the elections process, you can send an email to jtorres, that's JTORRES, at vbgov.com. There will also be a report from the legal team, and they will provide legal options to the city council members to consider in conjunction with the key findings from these hearings. Consideration by the council will be made later this summer. And I just also want to say, that we have noticed and seen other localities have hearings, but this is perhaps the most comprehensive process, and 12 hearings all over the city. And so Virginia Beach is to be commended for its process and how complete it is. So today, this is about input. This is about your input. We are not able to answer any questions, but we definitely, and the City Council wants to hear from you about your thoughts about the elections here in Virginia Beach. But first, we're going to watch a short video that's put together by the City of Virginia Beach about how we got here today.
Prior to 2022, our local election system remained mostly unchanged since 1967. The city charter defined our local election system as having 11 members. 4 were chosen at large with no residency requirement, including the mayor, and 7 more were elected at large, but had to reside within one of the former districts. The charter also stated that school board members would be elected in the same manner as their city council counterparts. In November 2017, a lawsuit was filed against the city. The suit alleged that the at-large system violated the Federal Voting Rights Act by diluting the voting power of minorities. Specifically, the plaintiffs contended that the former voting system diluted the voting strength of of a coalition of Black, Hispanic, and Asian minority groups. The city defended the lawsuit, contending that no single minority group was large and compact enough to constitute a majority within a single voting district. The city also asserted that it was not reasonable to combine Black voters with Asian and Hispanic voters, since Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act did not authorize combining minority groups, and that the 3 minority groups specifically mentioned do not vote cohesively as one group. While the lawsuit was pending, the Virginia General Assembly considered and adopted legislation that would require changes to the election system, regardless of the outcome of the case. House Bill 2198 made it so that localities with district or ward-based residency requirements for members of a governing body must elect its members by the qualified members of that district or ward, and not by the locality at large. Further, House Bill 1890 and Senate Bill 1395, known as the Virginia Voting Rights Act, clarified that any at-large method of election shall not be imposed by the governing body in a manner that impairs the ability of a protected class to elect candidates of its choice or its ability to influence an election. Both pieces of legislation also apply to school boards. In March of 2021, the district court said that the city's voting system violated Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act. The court concluded that the coalition claims were legally permissible and that the minority groups specifically mentioned in the case were politically cohesive. The court prohibited the city from using the former system in any future elections. Following the March 2021 ruling of the district court, a special master created new election district maps for the city using data from the 2020 census, ensuring they were equally populated. They were drawn in a manner that, in the court's view, would allow a sufficient majority of minority populations to facilitate the election of minority groups' candidates of choice, including the creation of 3 minority opportunity districts. Under the new 10-1 system, 10 city council members and 10 school board members are elected from each of the districts. Only the mayor continues to be elected at large and can reside anywhere in the city. The city appealed the district court's decision to the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Fourth Circuit. In July of 2022, a 3-judge panel ruled that the lower court erred in its decision and vacated the district court's decisions and remedy. This decision left the city free to consider options other than the 10-1 system in future elections. However, it was too late to effectively implement a new system in time for the November 2022 election cycle. In November of 2022, residents went to the polls and cast their votes for the city council and school board candidates of their choice using the 10-1 system that had been ordered by the district court. 161,753 ballots were cast, and the outcome was the election of the city's most diverse slate of representatives. Since the court order that implemented the 10-1 system is no longer in effect, and the former system of electing local representatives is still on the books in the city charter, it became apparent that City Council would need to formally adopt a new method in time for the 2024 elections. In order to ensure that residents had a say in the direction that City Council opts to pursue, they passed a resolution in December of 2022 to begin a community engagement campaign to educate and inform residents on what legally viable options are available for the city. Following the community engagement period, Virginia Beach residents will be asked to participate in a survey in April. A random sampling of residents will receive a survey in the mail. However, an online version will be available to all residents, with results shared with council and the community this summer. In conclusion, a decision on our election system must be made by City Council in time for the 2024 election. Thank you for joining us today. This is your opportunity to provide input on city policy development and decision making.
So we'd like to thank Virginia Beach for the production of that video. It talks about quite a journey that brought you here this afternoon. We're about to begin the input portion, which is the important portion of this meeting. Let me go through a few of the things that will help make this process effective and enjoyable. The first is, you may have noted that there's a mic right up here in the front of the room. Your name will be called if you pre-registered to speak, and the person behind you, their name will be called as well, so that you can be ready to cue as soon as the speaker in front of you has finished. You will have 3 minutes. We have a signal that will go off in 2 minutes and 45 seconds. That's just to let you know that it's time to wrap up in the next 15 seconds. Most or many of our speakers have not needed 3 minutes, but that's to let you know that you may run long if you don't wrap it up in the 15 seconds. As Charnel mentioned earlier, we're not here to answer questions. We're not your experts. We are facilitators. But City Council is interested. If you have a question that's top of mind, you're welcome to ask it into the mic. That'll be part of the video and part of the transcript so they can be aware of your question. When you are finished, if you would like to return to your seats, please do. If your whole reason for coming was to give input and you'd like to leave, that's okay too. Let's see, now for the important part that's made our meetings run very smoothly. We ask that you not have any sound effects while a speaker is speaking. This is so that they're not distracted. It's so that any speakers that may come up afterwards aren't intimidated, and also so that our live stream visitors will not be confused by noise in the background. But we do have a way, if you like what is being said, to show your support, and that is while we're taking the high-level notes that we're taking on the concepts that you're speaking about, if you really like what a speaker has said, just raise your hand and we'll note the emphasis on that comment for you. So I think, Charnel, we're ready to begin.
Okay, our first speaker is Lynn Meadows, and after Lynn Meadows will be Carl Wright.
Welcome, yes.
Hello. It's awesome to see so many people here today making our voices heard. I know we're paying about $350,000 for this survey, so thanks for being here. And I hope you let all your friends, family, and random strangers know to come speak out. My name's Lynn Meadows. I live in District 8. I think I want to thank Latasha Holloway and Georgia Allen for pointing out that our city's election system was not representative. It never crossed my mind. But about 15 years ago, I attended a candidate forum at the Central Library. There must have been about 24 people on the stage running for city council. The event was set to be 2 hours long, and there was like a 20-minute introduction. So we had like 3 minutes to hear from everybody, their priorities and their background. It wasn't a useful use of time. But fast forward to 2022, my husband, daughter, and I went to a Q&A session put on by Thalia Civic League for District 8's 3 candidates. And by the end of that session, we knew the background of each person, we knew their priorities for our district, we knew how they felt about building in our corridor, we knew how they felt about the homeless issue and several other issues. It was incredibly refreshing. Our new representative is Chris Taylor. Chris has already been to a Birchwood Civic League meeting. He held a town hall to update everybody on February 16th, and he plans to hold another meeting on May 19th to keep us in the loop. I love that the 10-1 system makes it easier for new candidates to get themselves known. They only have to put up signs and canvass in their own district. You no longer need deep pockets to become a public servant. According to the Virginia Public Access Project, one of the 3 people running in my district spent about $130,000 during the election to become a city council member. Another spent $12,000. They both received around the same number of votes. If the election had been citywide, odds are good that the one with the deep pockets, the $130,000, would have won because he would have been able to get his name all over the city. You are here to get our opinion. Please put my vote down as someone who wants to keep the 10-1 system.
Thank you.
Our current speaker is Carl Wright, and then the next speaker will be Melissa Lukeson.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for putting this on. Appreciate it. First of all, I want to say that I am 110% behind the 10 and 1. Okay? And I'm really excited about it because I don't know how many of you all go down to City Council. By a raise of hands, please show me. I'm down there all the time, and I talk to these people. I'm glad Mr. Bellucci is here tonight because we go battle and battle all the time. And I want you all to know it. I'm not hiding anything. I'm telling you. Those folks vote against our best of interest all the time. It's all about getting the clicks. It's all about grandstanding, and it's all about opportunity. We have a chance now to get the representative that represents us all and fully. Not someone that comes out just when it's time for elections, not for someone to tell us the things they feel they want us to hear, because a lot of us, we're intelligent adult people. We've got one person, and I've said this before, that's been on city council for 10 terms. I don't mean any harm, but if you can't get it, if it takes you 10 terms to get anything done on city council, there's a problem with that. I don't think that's the well, that's not our person, but I'm saying that's a problem. I'm here today to say we have got to put this 10-1 system in place because I'm telling you, if we don't get it done this time, you'll never get another chance. Not in this city. These people, they spend big bucks on these elections. I've seen numbers as high as $600,000. And if you have a candidate that you feel that represents you better, they don't care. They put their money behind their candidate of choice, the one that they feel is part of their system, and that's who they get behind. Don't let them hoodwink you, bamboozle you, lead you astray, run you amok, tell you what they want to tell you, because I'm down there and I hear them. And you can ask them. We got a council member here tonight. Ask them how he's staying. They spent $5 million on this issue right here. That was just in the court. They didn't say anything. We're not talking about the appeal process and then turn around and hire these good people for citizen input.
15 seconds.
You know, they're going to fight it. But they're not stronger than the people. This is about accountability.
Right, it's time.
And let's hold them accountable. Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Our current speaker is Melissa Lukeson, and then the next speaker will be Jan Taylor.
My 8th time speaking, and I'm not going to go in the history of 1994, 1996, but look at any of the other sessions and you'll get a real good history lesson. But in 2020, a former council member presented a resolution for a ballot referendum to get voter input on a district system to council. Unfortunately, it failed with a 7-4 vote. One of those votes was from the council person representing District 3, where we convene today. Councilmember Michael Berlucci defended his vote by saying, quote, "This is quite a substantial change, and it's one that requires conversation, dialogue, and carefully crafted language." He voted a ballot referendum down, but no one on council took action from July 2020 to get any public engagement on changing our illegal voting system. The court's decision in 2021 forced the city to implement 10 single-member districts, giving us the youngest, most diverse council in our history. In December 2022, the mayor proposed a resolution before the new council was seated to get public input on the district system. It passed with the help of Councilman Berlucci's vote in favor. In January 2023, Councilwoman Wooten presented a resolution at the request of constituents to rescind the mayor's attempt to spend almost $400,000 on a campaign against the 10 districts. It failed. Let's review Mr. Berlucci's voting record. A no vote in 2020 for a ballot referendum for voter input, a yes vote for the December resolution for this rushed public engagement, and a no vote to rescind Mayor Dyer's sad attempt to subvert the will of the voters. Since January 2022, there have been hours of discussion that include residents speaking at council meetings. Most council members who cater to developers and special interests were unswayed by our pleas to leave the 10-1 in place and codify it to our charter. Even more appalling is not only was their decision made, but they were unbothered by all the citizens' concerns. I reviewed the workshops and council meetings from 2020 to 2023. I noticed Mr. Bellucci was silent on the voting system. He did not participate in any robust conversations. He did vote against the appeal, so he disagreed with the spending of $10 million on the appeal, but the rest of his votes were for the status quo and against the people. Councilman Berlucci is up for re-election, and since he has started fundraising already, it appears he wants to keep his seat on council representing District 3. But why would the voters want to elect a cowardly lion? I want a representative to stand 10 toes down and chest out when they believe in something, even if it differs from my own opinion. Why don't you take the opportunity today to tell us how you feel about 10-1? My home is not in District 3, but my business is. I am invested in this community.
15 seconds.
Thank you. If you're a voter in District 3 and support 10-1, please let Mr. Bellucci know how you feel and encourage him to take an official position. I can only deduce from his voting record, which I have copies right over there if you need one, that he does not support the 10-1 system.
Right. Right. All right. And I'll just remind everyone, if you could just note, you can just raise your hand if you're in agreement, because it's hard for others to hear. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Our current speaker is Jan Taylor, and the next speaker will be Tammy Mullins-Rice. Okay, now our current speaker is Tammy Mullins-Rice, and then the next speaker will be Tracy Murray.
Good afternoon. My name is Tammy Mullins-Rice, and I'm from District 6. I'm the president of the Civic League for CTAC, and I'm here speaking for the 10-1 district. For years, we had representation in the old Beach district that was voted on by the entire city, and our representative never came to a Civic League meeting, a community event, a church event, even when invited, didn't come. The one time he showed up to our meeting was because the mayor was there. And then it was still against, we were trying to get a barrier that was in front of two churches on Bird Neck Road removed, and they both said they were gonna do nothing about it. So what I'm saying is, we now have representation. We have a representative who lives in our district. He comes to our Civic League meeting every single month. He's a member of our Civic League. He attends our community events. We know who he is. Our children know who he is. And that's what we're asking for. We're asking for a representative that's invested in our community, that hears what we're saying, understand. CTAC is a small area, you guys. And for some reason, we're like the jackpot for the city council. So right now, one whole side of Bird Neck, so I would say the west side, has been rezoned as industrial. And that was done like back in the 80s. So there are people that didn't know that. So every time we turn around, there's some organization or group trying to put a storage unit, or right now it's the lithium battery storages in our community, right behind neighborhoods where people have houses and children. And that's what we fight on a daily basis. So if we don't have a person that's in our district that understands what our needs are, that comes to our meetings, talk to the people, then we can't have any support at City Council. We can't fight these kind of things. We must keep the 10-1 district. And I'm thankful for all of you being here, and I just hope for once City Council listens to what the people are saying, because we can show them with our votes.
Our current speaker is Tracy Murray, and then the next speaker will be Fran Sansone. And the current speaker is Fran Sansone, and then the next speaker will be John Caldwell.
Oh, welcome.
Good evening. My name is Fran Sansone. I live in District 3. I'm also a member of the Princess Anne Plaza Civic League, and Mr. Berlucci is a member of our league, and not just because he's in this district. He comes to our meetings when they don't interfere with city council meetings, and he's also come to our provided us with assistance for some major issues that this entire community within our league boundaries has run across. He's really worked hard, so I do appreciate that more than I can tell you. And I'd like to thank the city for having these meetings, as it gives us a chance to share our election preferences. I felt for a long time that the manner and means in which the public or target audience is notified about an issue throughout the years, like notices in local newspapers, is simply outdated. And considering that newspaper subscriptions are at an all-time low, including digital, and many people are not technologically or media savvy, it's vitally important that the city look at multiple ways to reach out to the community and the residents, and I see that happening with these outreach events, and it's much appreciated. Please continue and expand upon that. Now, I feel that I should have a say in who represents me, more specifically, whoever votes with my tax dollars. I am not a fan of the 10-1 voting system that was imposed. I liked what Virginia Beach had, a hybrid at-large system, where those serving on the city council or school board were required to live in the specific district they represent, but every voter could vote for every member, as well as the specifically at-large seats. Voters need to do their homework on all candidates. Voters need to do their homework on all candidates, not just whoever comes up with the right buzzwords or flashy ads. At-large members are elected to serve the same constituency, which is the population of the city as a whole. Ideally, they should be impartial and rise above singularly focused perspective of their specific district and consider the wellness of the community as a whole. I feel district elections tend to improve citizen participation as candidates who represent a specific district and should be more responsive to their constituency, because they should be more in tune with specific problems and concerns of those district constituents, yet that doesn't always happen. And we've experienced that ourselves with those not within our district. Both of those methods roll into the need for the elected official to find a balanced decision that's attuned to the well-being of the specific district they live in and serve, as well as the city as a whole. I feel the hybrid at-large system gives the residents the best chance for that balance, accountability, focus, minority representation, neighborhood representation, everyone. Voters and their potential residents are responsible for making whatever election system we have work.
Thank you. Thank you.
Our current speaker is John Caldwell, and then the next speaker will be Stephen McPherson.
Thank you. I'm in District 8 also. I'm not happy with the 10-1, but I do concur with most of my previous speakers. And my last speaker here, she took my thunders. I don't have any thunder, but I agree with actually what she said. So there's no time wasted, no sense in wasting any more time saying anything other than that. The city council represents all of us, and so we should have a chance to elect at large. We lost John Moss because I would have voted for him in a heartbeat, and because I was restricted to 3 candidates, I was infringed. So I understand what the people that say they're infringed, they feel, because I'm feeling it now. Anyway, get rid of the 10-1 and come up with another plan, but if we can keep the at-large, that's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our current speaker is Stephen McPherson. The next speaker will be Leotis Adams.
Afternoon, I'm Stephen McPherson. My family, I guess, been here since the 1890s or so, and my grandfather probably came from Moyock somewhere. And I thank God for, I guess I could say that for the hospital system. I was studying to be a chaplain in the military or Army, and this is a Navy town. So I worked for the Navy a lot as a teenager. All the military bases, anything you wanted me to do, drive a tractor, anything. But I guess I'm not even sure what district I'm in. I live here, so I must be District 3. And interesting thing, too, is my aunt is from Portsmouth and got a few little issues. My aunt's from Portsmouth, and she was driving through here in 2017, and she hit a wall of water when that kind of little tsunami came. She almost drowned. And I told her to kick the door open. She was on Rosemount Road. And Rosemount Road is an awful place to be when it's flooded. It's a very awful place. And talking about the housing issue here, I grew up here when there were farms, Rita or Red Firm across the road, cows and pigs, and my grandfather had a pig farm. So I'm a rural country boy. I was a rural country boy, and I've been in New Guinea and Australia teaching school, and before I went in the Army to apply for the chaplaincy. And I've seen Third World. I've seen Third World. And Virginia Beach has come a long way. I think we need to keep their Navy here too, because as a former teacher, I'm saying that if the Navy goes, this place is going down like South Carolina. So we need the military. We got to have the military here. Another thing about the homeless, I ride a bike a lot. I'm a former PE teacher too, kind of. So I ride a bike. I was riding over overpass, and I'm seeing homeless people over the overpass pass down by London Bridge. And I said, this is crazy. I see these people living like that. And then out in SeaTac and every place. And one of my friends who was a minister many years ago, when I came home in the 80s, I came back home again in 2005 after being gone almost 30 some years. And he said, if you go down the tracks here in Lynn Haven, he says, there's a homeless all the way down the tracks. And my mom and stuff used to ride trains here, train cars in this area. And he says, it's very dangerous. You don't want to go back into a homeless camp by yourself. And I never did do that. So another thing, I've seen a building called 224. And I'm sure it has to do with the clinics, open clinics and stuff, and they call it health and wellness, but I'm sure it was a abortion clinic. And that'd be a good place to put a homeless place in. It really would. Just take that place out because it's hurting our girls. It really is, and minority girls mostly, the minorities. And we've got a diverse population. So
15 seconds.
So I enjoy this diverse population. A lot of Muslims are here and Latinos are here now. So I love diversity. I taught 21 different nationalities.
Thank you.
The current speaker is Leotis Adams, and then our next speaker will be Philip Nuwalo.
Hi, welcome.
Good afternoon. Leotis Adams. I've been a resident here since 1993, coming from the West Coast, California specifically. And first opportunity that I got to vote here, I was really disturbed or confused that all the candidates were on the ballot, that everybody could vote for anything and everything, and there was no local, real-life local representation. And when I got the flyer that they were going to have this meeting, I said, well, let me sit down and write out some pros and cons for each one. And all the pros have been expressed here today, so I won't go back over them. Familiarity with the candidate, local representation, and what have you. But one of the cons came out that big money can control the whole city. Regardless of what district you're in, people that have the money can get out to sway people's vote by advertising, by getting out there and getting representatives, getting people out there to vote, cast their vote or not vote for a particular person. I didn't know who my representative was in District 3. I'm in District 3, I guess. But I didn't know who I was voting for in the past and the others. So I didn't vote for that person, or I voted against that person. So it's only fair that the citizens of a district select a person within that district to represent them, to have a specific voice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our current speaker is Philip Nuwalo. The next speaker will be Marie Dotino.
Good afternoon. I don't have prepared remarks, I'm sorry, but thank you for everyone who has spoken eloquently so far. I am a strong advocate for a 10-1 system. When I first saw that we had elected our most diverse council ever, it was one of the first times I recall in my 30 years of life in Virginia Beach feeling a point of civic pride. Diverse representation does not guarantee effective representation, but it does guarantee representative representation. And if you are not representative, you are not a democracy on a state level, a federal level, or a local level. The only argument you need against the old system is half the people who work in our city can't afford to live here. That means it's not working. The people who clean our streets, the people who bag our groceries, the people who do everything we need them to do can't live here. That means what we're doing isn't working, and it's time to try something that maybe gets more voices in the game. To anyone who is against 10-1, would you advocate people in Richmond selecting your 2nd district congressional representative? Would you advocate people in Fairfax and Arlington voting for it? No, you wouldn't. If you would, you'd abolish the House of Delegates, because what's the point if no one's going to have a local say? Everyone says all politics is local. Well, how do we do that by having people who aren't local deciding your politics? It simply doesn't make sense, and I can think of no democratic reason for it other than to infantilize people we believe can't make their own choices. The simple fact of the matter is, at-large bids give outstanding power to those people because they only need 2 other people to abandon the goals of their district to push the project they want. Now, can it be a opportunity for gridlock? Yes. Yes, it can, but I believe in a deliberative body. And if we're electing good candidates, we'll find a way to get past that gridlock. However, just allowing 4 people who think the Cavalier is a city priority when 90% of the people who live in this city cannot afford to ever stay there, get married there, or do anything there, while meanwhile, we couldn't do light rail so that the people who have to work and supply this city with its lifeblood can't get to work. But we're gonna spend $100 million on a walking trail from Chesapeake to the oceanfront. I guess they can walk to work, because they certainly can't take a train, ride an effective bus, or even walk on a sidewalk, which most of our city lacks.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Marie Dottino, and then the following speaker will be Nidra Howard.
Welcome. Are you able to? He's coming.
I'm from another state, namely New Jersey. And this is all new to me. I've never been at a city council meeting before. I've never spoken publicly before. But I would like to say that whatever is fair for everyone, and that includes everyone, is what I pray for. And that goes for our districts, our state, our country, and our children.
Thank you.
Current speaker is Nidra Howard, and then the next speaker will be Ella Dunbar. All right, then our current speaker is Ella Dunbar, and she'll be followed by Ronald Thomas.
Welcome. Good evening, or afternoon, I should say. I'm here to say that I'm wholeheartedly in favor of the 10-1 system because it allows all votes from everybody, no matter what your walk of life. All votes count the same. In an at-large system, well, you can have these districts vote for what they want, but then you might have 3 heavily courted at-large candidates who will tip the scale against what the majority of people want. A young man here before me mentioned light rail. I can tell you that way back when I was a student at ODU, I did an internship at the city. And that was in the 80s when they were talking about light rail. And we rode the track from the oceanfront all the way up to Witch Duck Road. And then everything went on the back burner. And when it did look like the city was going to move forward, special interests, money people, elites, afraid, I don't know, some people are going to have access to the beach, all these other people are going to be coming here, I don't know. But they got rid of it. But as a person who had to ride the bus during the time that I was coming up and needed to go to work as a teen and what have you, we really needed and still need a better bus system. But even as an adult, to have my car die and live right at Princess Anne Plaza, right beside Harris Teeter, and have to go to a job, as I was a grad student, had to go to a job at Lynnhaven Mall. And from those 2 miles would take me an hour and a half by bus. And after 7 p.m., there wasn't even a bus that came back to Virginia Beach Boulevard. So in the evening, just think of how many kids might like to have a summer job, and the parents don't have that extra car for them to go back and forth. But they can't work until the mall closes, okay? So also, so while I stand here, and I know that I've talked about underserved neighborhoods before, but don't think I'm just talking about public housing or whatever. We got plenty of trailer parks and everything, people that are underserved all over the place. And we need to remember everybody. So by a show of hands, I would like to see, is there anybody here that grew up like folks like we did in our neighborhood that didn't have indoor plumbing? Okay. Anybody here whose father's house burned more than it needed to because there wasn't a fire hydrant nearby that they could plug up to the fire trucks and get that fire out quicker?
15 seconds.
So I think that you just really need to think about that the people that we want there should be representing the people who live in that area and not the special interests. And most of you probably wouldn't think that, what, in the 90s you got streets and neighborhoods that weren't paved, that were dirt roads, just off Virginia Beach Boulevard?
Time.
Didn't have indoor plumbing? Think about it.
Our current speaker is Ronald Thomas.
Good afternoon. I have been in Virginia Beach since 1982. A number of things that I have been supporting is light rail, and we didn't get anywhere with light rail because of the problems with voting in Virginia Beach. Also, affordable housing. I want to reiterate what other people have said. As long as there are powerful people in the city and we don't have representation, we're not going to have affordable housing. And at my church, Ebenezer Baptist Church, we have city workers who come there and said they work in Virginia Beach, but they can't afford to live in Virginia Beach. They go to Norfolk and they come back. And last of all, you have to have people vote on the person who's going to represent them, and these at-large people do not work. Thanks.
Thank you.
I have no additional registered speakers.
Right. Is anyone live stream? No one?
There's nobody in the virtual
All right.
queue either.
So if you have not registered but like to speak, please come forward.
Who is my neighbor?
Just if you can say your name.
I'm sorry, my name is Susan Potter. I've seen some of you before. Who is my neighbor? In my faith, the answer is the familiar story of the Good Samaritan. A man is beset by robbers, beaten, and tossed in a ditch. Several important citizens pass by. The Good Samaritan stops, pulls the victim up, helps him heal, and sends him back on his journey. This story is usually followed by a discussion of the passersby versus the Samaritan, inaction versus action, praise for the helper. I'd ask you to briefly focus on other characters, the robbers. Who are the robbers in our scenario? Who threatens and tries to steal our voting rights and the voting rights of our neighbors? Who obfuscates and obstructs and overcomplicates a very simple matter, wasting years and years and millions upon millions of our tax dollars on a losing lawsuit? And why? All to serve their own selfish interests instead of the public. And who are our Samaritans? Well, you've heard from some of them here, and there are many more, lifting up our communities, lifting up the whole city, trying to right the wrongs of the past and move all of us forward. So as you head back to Charlottesville, ladies, to write up a report, let me ask you to be like the brave Samaritans. Please issue a one-paragraph report. Please tell the would-be takers of our rights that they are wrong. Please tell them that the public, the citizens they are supposed to serve, overwhelmingly support the 10-1 system. As for the very impressive legal team you have assembled, please ask them to look at the big picture. Ask them to refrain from overthinking, overcomplicating, or enabling the illegally elected takers. These experts can dispose of this matter with a 4-paragraph report, emphasizing that 1, the current population of people of color in the city of Virginia Beach is about 40.2%. 2, the 10-1 map, with minor changes, ensures that the voices of this large minority population are heard. The 10-1 system works. 3, it is simply not true that the Voting Rights Act of 1965 somehow prohibits combining the interests and voices of the various minorities. On pages 48 to 57 of the Fourth Circuit opinion, Chief Judge Roger Gregory cites several cases that support so-called coalition claims. 4, there is no clever, complex system to be discovered that will allow at-large voting for any of the 10 district seats. Given the current numbers, any at-large system will illegally dilute the minority vote and will violate the Voting Rights Act of 1965, as well as the Virginia Voting Rights Act. Please speak truth to these illegally elected takers. Please be a Samaritan.
15 seconds.
Be a helper. Lift up our city, dust it off, help us to heal ourselves, and point us forward on our journey to the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other speakers? Someone would like to say something? Or, yes, ma'am. Just please give your name before you start.
Yes.
Thank you.
Judith Jeffrey. Hope everyone's doing well. I would like to thank the Weldon Cooper Group for this very respectful presentation. The way it came about is different, but at the same time, it's wonderful to give us a chance to see what's going on. I am definitely about 10,000 times in support of our 10-1 system. But I want to go back 55 years. 55 years ago, Virginia Beach, I'm skipping around, sorry about that, but I'll try to get through my notes. 55 years ago, following the Voting Rights Act, Virginia Beach City continued to keep the residents, the citizens of this city of 457,000 people 55 years back, and have the audacity and the nerve to continue to want to do it at this time. With this looming switcheroo, reversal, trickery, kneecapping attempt. I am not a person that will reverse, and I hope that many of us do, and I see that many of our citizens here are not ready to do a switcheroo, acquiesce to this switcheroo. And New York City has a slogan: if you see something, say something, and then do something. And that's why this group is assembled here this afternoon. It appears to me the majority. And also, if it's not daylight savings time, I think we sound as though we don't want to go back to the system that has been in place for 55 years. When I moved here about 3 decades ago, I heard about this. And at the time, I was not sure because I just moved there from the north. And again, I am definitely in support of the 10-1 system, if I haven't said that. Let's see. And sometimes when you go to court, yes, you can do an appeal. But every now and then, let's do what Rodney King said. Can't we all get along? When it's time to make a change, and a change for the betterment, let's go ahead and do that. This is 2023, and I feel that this group has expressed themselves, or ourselves. I am for the 10-1 system, if I did not mention that. Let's see what else I have. So 55 years ago, Virginia Beach feels that it can just go ahead and do this. We are not all blind. We may not have been born yesterday, but we know what's going on, or what seems to be coming towards us. This looks like a train wreck, and we need to dodge this train. I am definitely for the 10-1 system.
Time. Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak? Yes, yes, please, Councilman.
Good afternoon. My name is Michael Berlucci, and I serve as the District 3 representative on our City Council. I'm a lifelong resident of the City of Virginia Beach. I was born and raised here, educated in Beach Public Schools, and I can tell you that serving on City Council is the greatest honor, privilege, and responsibility of my lifetime. It's a responsibility I take very seriously, and I thank you for the privilege to serve. Being here has been really a great experience, because What we're doing is talking about how we elect representatives. And I have the privilege now of having the job of representing District 3, but I've participated in many elections as a voter. I've lobbied my representatives for things that I care about, and one day I will go back to being a citizen like we all are, and will continue to lobby my representatives about things that are important to me. And so voting is the most sacred and important thing that we do as Americans, and I'm encouraged by the fact that we have a full room of citizens and Virginia Beach residents who care about our city enough to show up here to have their voices heard about how we move forward as a community together. My job now is to listen and to absorb what has been said and to move forward as a community in terms of together deciding how we move forward with the system. And so I thank you for that. I'm going to leave my cards here so that if you have anything you'd like to talk to me about, share it now, share it later. I welcome your feedback, and I just want to tell you that I was here to listen and absorb what was said, and I appreciate that opportunity very much.
Thank you so much, Councilman. Appreciate you being here. Yes, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Berlucci, for that. I just actually wanted to really quickly, according to the January city workshop where they spoke to council about this process, in that process, the Walden Cooper is supposed to give their report by mid-June, okay? I attend city council regularly. Very regularly, as Mr. Berlucci would be able to attest. And I can tell you there's an average of 60 to 65 people that watch online. It's on Facebook, okay? There's even less people usually, unless there's a big issue, that actually is in the chamber. And unless you are facing something or working on something that would actually be presented to the body, most citizens are just never gonna enter the chamber. Okay, so we don't have a lot of participation. And the reason I tell you about this mid-June report is because what I need you to do is I need you to pay attention between June and August. August 18th is the deadline date. Okay, so historically what we've seen with city council and what they do is and there's a lot of engagement right now, there's a lot of excitement right now, people are talking about it, right? But they wait us out. They wait us out. I'm not saying Mr. Berlucci, but several other members on council will definitely try to wait us out. They will think that we aren't paying attention, and to be honest, some of us in this room probably won't be by the summer, okay? But, I will be. And then when August is done, you do know that this referendum that they've spent all this money trying to figure out doing, it is an advisory referendum. What does that mean? That means that we can do all this, we can say everything we want, we can vote on it in November, and they can sit on that dais and do exactly the opposite of what the people said. So I need all of you to keep your council person, whether it's 8, 6, I live in 6, my business is in 3. I need you to pay attention and stay on top of this, because it's really, as you could hear by many of us, it's very important. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Can I just add one thing?
Oh, sorry, hold on. Yes, you can approach.
I just wanted to say that
Please repeat your name.
Tammy Rice, District 6. If you're not getting the city council agendas, you need to sign up for it, because then you always know what's on the agenda, what they're going to talk about at that particular meeting. So you need to go onto the city's website under city council and sign up to get the agendas in your email. Now, it's the abbreviated version, and if you really want to know the details of the big, 165-page thingamabob, you can go into the meeting and pull that out. And I don't do that because we have what's that lady name? Barb Smith? She does it all for me. Yeah, she does it all for me. I just watch her, and then she goes through every single thing, and I'll be like, y'all need to listen to her. I know they laugh at her, and that's the thing. She's still a citizen of this city, and she cares about how our money is being spent. And the fact that she's disrespected by city council is unacceptable.
Thank you. Yes, sir. Just restate your name before you start. Thanks.
Once again, my name is Carl Wright. I do reside in District 3. I've been here involved with the politics and citizenship here for over 25 years. I too want to follow what she said. I want you all to watch this lady that goes there, Miss Massenger. She's there. I mean, this lady, she's 70 some odd years old, but she goes there to speak constantly for us on our behalf, and they totally disrespect this lady, and I get sick of it. And Mr. Bellucci, you said that one day you'll be back to being a citizen again. I'm looking forward to that. Furthermore, yes, I am. I'm looking forward to that. Once again, please come out to the meetings. If you have children, grandchildren, please come out. Once again, Mr. Bellucci, I look forward to you returning as a citizen. I am for the 10-1 district. This is the best thing that ever happened in the city of Virginia Beach. It's an opportunity for your children and your grandchildren. There's no need of anyone being on city council for 10 terms. 40 years. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Just please restate your name.
Ella Dunbar again. What I really wanted to emphasize is that people need to realize that the people who put on city council, they dance with the ones who brought them. So if you have an at-large system, that's who they're going to fall in line with. And you know, you find all through the years these nods to certain special interests or whatever. But I can give you an example. We all, I think, in this area, we're a military town, and we love our military and we love our veterans. A lot of people, when they serve in the military, they settle here because they like this city. And we don't have to entice them to settle here. But I do know that City Council put it forth and they voted to give, you know, if you're a retired veteran, if you're a veteran and veteran passes away, the spouse can stay in that home and they don't have to pay real estate taxes. Okay, I might be able to get behind that. Like I said, we love our military. But then they took it even further forward to say they don't have to reside in the home. So they can live anywhere. So, you know, do I have a son or daughter that maybe they want to buy the family home, but they can just stay there and not pay taxes and just pay mom and dad? I don't know. Can they just rent the home out somewhere? But who picks up the rest of that? What somebody else doesn't pay, you pay. And if you're talking about real estate taxes, there was a time when you could deduct that on your you know, you could deduct that on your regular taxes. But we have, I know growing up here in the city, trash collection came, but now you've got to pay a separate bill for that. And I've asked so many times, why can't they not include that with their real estate taxes? So when you go to make a deduction, you can deduct that. I know my family would never have been able to afford to pay for trash collection because they would have been deciding between food and, well, we didn't have a water bill because we didn't have running water. But, you know, they would have to make a choice between that. So we don't get relief. And so I don't say this to talk against the military because I think we all have somebody in our family that served, or you know, just in general, we appreciate the job they do. But I felt like that was just a political move to reach out to a certain group that was already here and loving the city. Okay?
15 seconds.
So I just wanted to say that, and I think regular people need relief, and I think you need to think beyond, you know, what the elites and people at Oceanfront want, and just realize people in regular neighborhoods, regular middle-class people, need relief. Thank you.
Time. Thank you. Is there anyone else? All right. So I will just remember, please spread the word. Oh, yes, ma'am? Yes, ma'am. But now you have to restate your name yet again.
I am Judith Jeffrey. I did say that when I first moved here from up north, I heard about the at-large and the different districts, etc. And believe it, I didn't quite understand it. And I just wanted to say that this system that the city council is paying money for to take people back, am I right? It's part of a de facto system. A de facto system is something that is in place and it's ongoing. It may not be legal, usually it's not legal. It's beneficial to the persons who put it forth. And it can be ongoing. So please look that up. It's a de facto system and it takes you back. We don't want to go back. Many people in this room have already said that. The 10-1 system is the best, or at this point, the best system, and it is something that we could all perhaps smile a little more about. So that's my comment. I'm in support of the 10-1 system. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Yes, ma'am. Yes. So if you just give your name. All right.
Just so you know, I am Georgia Allen. Okay. And I grew up right here in the city of Virginia Beach. As a matter of fact, I grew up when it was Princess Anne County. I grew up beyond, all the way down past Pongo. So this is home for me. I'm a lifetime resident of this city. And I'm here to speak in favor of the 10-1 system, not just because I was part of the lawsuit, but it's because this system works. It works. It works for all of us. Because regardless of where you're from, regardless of race, creed, color, socioeconomic background, it doesn't matter. It still works for you, okay? And so it's important that we look at a couple of things. One, can we hold the people we elect accountable? If they're at large, it's virtually impossible because they have so much money, that even if we wanted to hold them accountable, we couldn't because other people can make sure they get in office again and again and again and again and again. If we're serious about this city, if we're really truly serious about this city, if we love our children, if we love our grandchildren, and we really truly want them to have a true opportunity to serve in this city, then the 10-1 system works the best. We got to look at those who are coming behind us. And because they should and they must have an opportunity to have a seat on city council, to be a true public servant, not someone that comes in and say, okay, let me put my hand behind my back, put enough money in my hand and I'll vote exactly the way you want me to vote. But we gotta train those children up now because this city has been doing this so very long until it's second nature to them. It is second nature, and that's horrific. And the other thing is, we elect people to be public servants, okay? We don't elect them to sit on city council and serve a small group of people. They are to serve the entire public, not just a few.
15 seconds.
Okay. And finally, as a reminder, this 10-1 system could also potentially help the city of Virginia Beach avoid more costly litigation. More costly litigation if we don't hold on to this 10-1 system. So we need to move forward. Thank you. Hope that helps you guys out.
Right. Thank you. Is there anyone else? Right. So we want to thank everyone for coming tonight. Just remember the survey, there will be a random survey mailed, but you can access it on the website as well. These findings will be provided to City Council along with legal options that will be provided by attorneys. We ask you to spread the word. There are 2 more hearings, one tomorrow is virtual, and then there's an in-person one later in the afternoon. Jane, is there anything else you'd like to say? Well,
drive safely.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.